Welcome to the Plant Connection narrated presentation for the spring varieties for 2021. This is Gail Havlicek. I'm a sales representative for the Plant Connection, and I work out of Minnesota, and I also work in northern Wisconsin.
Hey everyone, this is Alicia Oslison, and I'm also a plant sales rep with BFG Plant Connection. And I am in West Central Minnesota. I work in the northern part of Minnesota, a little bit in Wisconsin, the Dakotas, Nebraska, and a little bit of Montana.
Hello, this is Megan Lambert, Plant Connection representative, and I have Southern Wisconsin, Southern Minnesota, and Iowa. Take it away, Gail.
Alrighty, I will do that. As most of you know, there was no spring trials due to the COVID, but the breeders all did a really great job. They stepped up, they produced videos, we had Zoom meetings, and there was plenty of printed material so that we could put together this presentation. So let's get started. Our first plant is Angelonia allonia, big bicolor. It's a bigger size plant than the regular Angelonia. It's very pollinator friendly, 18 to 22 inches tall, and it's early enough to flower in a small pot. There's 6 colors in the series. We're showcasing here pink and purple. And one thing that I think makes this special is that when you plant it, it stays smaller and it'll bloom, but then as it gets into the garden, then it really grows in size. Bacopa scopia double pink. It has good branching, it's great for combos, abundant flowers, continuous flowering into summer, and it's great for quarts and gallons and baskets, and I really think the double flower just really is a standout. Bidens, blazing volcano, very naturally compact, no PGRs needed. Has abundant flowers, baskets, combos, and it won't get long and spindly. Calibrachoa colibri, mellow yellow. Compact habit, pollinator friendly, well branched. There's actually 12 colors now in this series. It's a very dependable series. New Guinea Impatiens, Soluna. This is a brand new series from Danziger. It's basically, they're saying, New Guinea Impatient reinvented. It's great for sun and shade. Compact, well-matched series. It's great for packs, quarts, and gallons. We have Candy Apple, pink, Tropical Punch, and white that we haven't shown. New Guinea Impatiens, Harmony Colorful. Perfect for shade baskets, containers, and combos. Your dependable Harmony genetics. This is the first, whoops, sorry, go back one. This is the first line of trailing New Guineas on the market. Osteospermum osticade, golden yellow blooms, controlled trailing habit. It's perfect for baskets, patio pots, and combos. Can be grown in a warm greenhouse along with other annuals. And it doesn't require a cooling to create a consistent crop. And I have this as a trial plant that I got, and I put it in a combo pot, and it is just mingling really great with all my other plants. Nemesia Necia Tutti Frutti has the same heat tolerance as the rest of the Necia series. Unique multicolor blooms. It blooms all season. Tight upright habit, and it's full of flowers. And now this series has 10 colors. I really think Nemesia is gaining in popularity because it isn't just a spring plant anymore, and the colorings of most of them are really beautiful. Amore. We all know Amore for that beautiful heart pattern that's in there. It's early flowering, the unique heart-shaped pattern on every bloom. It's mounded, abundant flowers, a very stable pattern, and it's great in quarts, gallons, baskets, and combos. Some of you might remember last year they introduced the King of Hearts, which was red and white. What I like about this one is that we've got that unique yellowish cream color with the plum color. Petunia capella, mounding habit, The flowers show off on the top of the plant, which is always a nice bonus. It actually has 5 new colors. And with over a dozen colors to choose from, it really has become a grower's favorite. Cascadias, another popular series by Danziger. A Hint of Lime, of course, has that really pretty subtle hint of lime. Chili Red, who doesn't like a vibrant red? Petunia Hippie Chick Violet. Anybody that knows me, this has been my favorite trial plant. It has a unique bloom shape, bright color, semi-trailing, and it's great for premium baskets. I actually have this planted in a pot, and it grew so full and big that when I took a picture of it, it actually looked like it was growing in the ground. So I really like this plant, and I did notice that Mask has picked it up. Petunia Orchid Frost. This is another standalone variety, just like the Hippie Chick. Unique bloom and shape. The pattern draws attention. Vigorous growth habit for premium containers, and it's great for baskets and combos. Petunia Ray. This is a real dependable series. It actually now has 15 colors. Large flowers, mounded habit. It's early enough for any market. Great for baskets and combos. And as you can see, they improved the red. Fuchsia is new, and the sunflower improved. Petunia Splash Dance. We all knew it was coming, that another breeder or two is going to come up with this new speckled. Unique speckled pattern. Tested and trialed to hold the pattern in the heat. Blooms early enough for any market. Gallon and larger combos. And I think the Magenta Mambo is pretty special just because instead of it, having white speckles, it's got that creamy yellow. Begonia Iconia Baccio. This is the 4th family in the Iconia series. Baccio means little kiss. And when these first came out a few years back, all the Iconias, they were bred to have a premium luxury look. This is basically a compact miniature version of the Portofino series, has an abundance of small flowers, and I think that the name has definitely held up to its luxury look. Calibrachoa Aloha. Bright blooms, strong vigor, and baskets to mix containers. This hot orange color I think is a winner. This is the Cali Aloha series. It's a very classic series. Hot orange. Dahlia Hypnotica Limoncello. Bright blooms, strong vigor, baskets to mix containers. I love this plant. I think it's really a standout. It looks like somebody took a neon highlighter to put the color in it. And we all know how well Hypnotica dahlias do. Calibrachoa TikTok. This is a brand new series from Dooman. TikTok, resembling the hands of a clock or a star pattern. It's very stable. It has medium vigor. And I think it's really fun and playful. Petunia Pinkerbell. This was a #1 pick at trials. If anyone has ever went to any plant trials, they usually hand you flags and tell you to walk around and pick what you like best. And this one was full of flags. It's a standalone. It's not going to be a series. It has double blooms with dark pink center with outer white edges, and it has medium vigor. Coleus Main Street, Beale Street. This is the first Coleus that is a AAS winner. It maintains its true red color. It doesn't fleck out in the sun, and it's great for sun or full shade. The leaves are really full, robust habit, and it's just a beautiful plant. Coleus Lafrique, it makes me chuckle every time I see it. This is another standalone variety. Idea for mass plantings or combinations, sun and shade tolerant, and it's a great texture plant. It also mingles really well in combos. Kufia. A couple new colors, Blackberry Splendor, Hummingbird's Lunch. Very unique coloring. They have tubular flowers. And as the one says, Hummingbird's Lunch, the hummingbirds love it. It's an extremely fluorescent Kufia. New Guinea Impatiens roller coaster. You might remember last year, Hot Pink was introduced. Unfortunately, the wrong cuttings were delivered and nobody got any of that new plant. So technically all 4 colors are a new introduction. Large flowers with double the petals representing roller coaster. Very shade loving and very large flowers. So it has a real 3-dimensional look. I definitely think it's worth trying this year. Petunia Sunrise Sparkle, another spotted speckled pattern that we get to purchase from. Full sun, great for containers. Again, it's supposed to have a stable pattern in the heat. And I think what makes this special is that this is the first one that we have in red. So that's Petunia Sparkle Red there, that bottom last one. Proven winners, National Plants of the Year. We got the Petunia Super Tunia Mini Vista, which were formerly known as the Charms, and then Nepida's Cat's Pajamas. Begonia Double Delight. These have a wonderful citrus fragrance. They're increased sun tolerance, although I wouldn't suggest you put them in full sun. Abundant cascading flowers, a great show in a hanging basket, and their height is about 8 to 14 inches. I have both of these planted in a planter and they're doing wonderful. I really like the double flower. I think they're really a standout. Begonia Double Up. These are vegetative wax begonias. They thrive in sun to shade, self-cleaning double bloom. They have excellent vigor, containers or landscape beds, and they have a long shelf life in the greenhouse. I also have these planted in a bird bath that I converted into a planter, and all of them are doing really well, and some are in sun and some are in the other side on shade. So I've always liked wax begonias because they don't need a lot of watering, and I have never killed one yet. Colocasia, Coffee Cups and Heart of the Jungle. Great thriller for landscape and containers, part sun to sun, heat tolerant, and of course, great foliage interest. The last slide for me in this presentation is the Calibrachoa Superbells Coral Sun. Perfect trailing habit with an abundance of flowers held on the top of the foliage. I think this is a real spectacular tropical color, and I could see it mixed with some yellow plant to pop out that yellow center. And with that said, I'm going to pass the presentation on to Alicia.
Hey everyone, this is Alicia, and we're going to keep going here with the proven winners. And next we have the Euryopsis High Noon. This is actually a really fun one. I was really surprised to see this when they kind of talked about these new plants for the proven winner lineup, as this is a totally new genus for the proven winners, and we don't see this one a lot otherwise from other vendors. And I will have to say I have a couple different samples of these, and it's just really kind of a fun plant. This is a more up close photo of it, but it's kind of, the foliage is more lower and mounded, and then the flowers stick above the plant and kind of go out and kind of fall over a little bit. So it's almost kind of like a Gara type look. Again, it's not as tall as that, but still really fun. I have mine in full sun, and it just is really doing really great. We've had a good little string of high 80s, low 90s the past week or so, and they have really taken off. And it's a great pollinator plant too. That's a big thing with consumers. And you're going to get those continuous blooms throughout the summer, which is what you want to get that more bang out of your buck. So it looks a little bit different. It's a little bit different thing, but I would encourage you to try this one for next year. Ipomea, the Sweet Caroline Medusa Green. This one is not like the other Ipomeas that you're used to seeing. It's not a huge trailer. It is really mounded, and I have mine in another spot close to the Euryopsis. And it is very mounded. I would say that some people do like to put Ipomeas in hanging baskets and then they trail over and, you know, nice big show. Whereas this one here is definitely going to be mounded in tighter habit. It's not incredibly vigorous like the kiwi that was introduced a couple of years ago, but it would definitely make a beautiful hanging basket. And they say, you know, a nice sub for a Boston fern, but it's not going to get as tall as a Boston fern, but you're going to get that mass out of it. So I think it would be fun to put in different combinations and even just like straight hanging baskets and things like that. Osteo Bright Lights Red. This one here, mine at my house where I have them in full sun on the south side of my house, are a little bit more darker than that photo. They're more of a rusty red, which I don't think is entirely undesirable. Definitely has that good fall interest, and mine have continuously been blooming, and the foliage on the bottom hasn't gotten super leggy like the Symphony series did, but now those are gone away. They don't have those anymore. So it does match the others in the series. The berry red was new, or the berry pink was new, berry rose new last year. And so you've got the foliage on the bottom, and then you've got this nice flower stalk of the bloom to the top there as well. So it is a nice seasonal extender. You could use it for fall until, of course, the frost comes along and takes care of it. Lantana Luscious Royal Red Zone. This one is really fun. Mine, like I said, we've had this string of good heat. I don't know if I like it so much, but the plants do. Some heat these past week and a half or so, and I've really seen this one take off. Had some really dark red blooms on it, and now I've got like some orange with a little bit of yellow in there, and it does age to that red color, so I'm getting some newer growth on there. It is a sterile selection, similar to Syngenta has Hot Blooded that came out a couple years ago. And so this is just kind of a new one to add to the lineup, and they are, bigger flowers on them, and the habit is more compact. It's not getting crazy like the landscape ones and all that kind of stuff, but definitely fun, good color. Coleus Color Blaze Royal Pineapple Brandy. This one is really kind of fun. It is really, mine I have in a couple different spots, and the chartreuse really comes through with that kind of that mellow yellow type look to it as well. And you get the really great contrast with that red edging, not only on the stem, but also on the leaves in particular. And you get really great height out of it. A lot of people, what they want out of Coleus is that great height. So you're looking at about like 2.5 to 3 feet, which I think is great. And then, 1.5 foot, width-wise too as well, which is just about what you want for a nice thriller, or even sometimes a filler in your pot, depending on what kind of pot you're putting together. But really fun. We're seeing a lot more direction into interesting type foliage leaves on like Coleus. Like last year they had the Wicked series that had more of that wavy edge. This one here is more of a smaller leaf to it, and not just those typical big ones that we're used to seeing. Lobellaria Moonlight King. This one's got yellow blooms on it. So we actually got an email the other day. They do trials updates kind of from all different trial sites in the south, and then the west, and then the north, and all that kind of stuff throughout the summer from proven winners. And I can't remember which institution it was, but one of them said that a lot of people who they've let, selective low amounts of people group-wise visit the gardens and stuff, and that you could see it from a ways away, and you wanted to walk up to it and see what it was. And this was the plant that they were talking about, is that you can see that yellow type kind of look to it, and you're kind of like, oh, what is that? You want to go, take a look. It doesn't get too high, but it also spreads a lot, which is great for people that want more of a low line or just a nice mounded look in the front of their pot. So it does have a nice little scent to it, and again, of course, attractive to pollinators as well. Scaevola Whirlwind Starlight. I really love this one. I have it in a couple different spots, and it's doing great. I love the bicolor of it with the blue and the white, and when it says that it has the shorter internodes, it really does. Like, it is not super leggy. Like sometimes the Bombay gets a little leggy for people. This one here definitely has those shorter internodes, so you do get more flowers, and it's not just this big long and then the flower on the end. Definitely more tighter, more flower power. I have mine on like the edge of the pots with some purple and kind of stuff like that. Even I think some of that Pineapple Brandy Coleus, I can't remember now, but it is definitely really pretty. Not a lot of height, but again, you're going to get spread, but you're going to get that more concentrated flower power because of those shorter internodes. So I know some people don't use a lot of Scaevola, but I think that this one is worth it for that. All right, so on to Sakata. They are the breeders behind the Sun Patience. So we've got 2 new ones in the compact series, Rose Glow and Hot Pink. And unfortunately, we don't get sample plants of these. I really wish that we would, because I would love to see that glow in the Rose Glow. Not that I believe it doesn't exist, but just for the fact that I would like to be able to see it for myself, because they're so beautiful and very popular. I know a lot of people are ordering more and more Sun Patience every year for consumers and things like that. So definitely, I know that we've got a lot of colors in this series, but I think these 2 are worth the notoriety in there. Petunia Super Cal, a couple years ago, Sakata introduced the premiums, which is the bigger flower, like the cinnamon, the French vanilla, the buttercreams, and then they also have the regular Super Cals, which are a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller flowers on them. But again, these petunias or petcoas, as we call them, are more tolerant of different soil types and things like that. So it makes them very popular, at least in my area in northern Minnesota, even central, where we do have some iron issues and things like that. And so these are a good little compromise for that, for people that are looking for a Calibrachoa sized plant, but a little bit bigger flowers, things like that. So we've got rose and we've got royal red to add to the lineup. I know cherry red is also another very popular Super Cal that's been around for a while. All right, Selecta, they have the Delilah series of the dahlias, and I just love how they name things. The red, the dark red and white there, you can see is pretty self-explanatory. And then the Fireball, and I do have the sample of the Fireball, and I will say again, it is loving this heat that we're having. And with the Fireball, one thing about it is that it's a new anemone form. I can't quite say that right, but shadow resistant. The blooms on it are very showy, very just, you can see it, from feet away and want to go take a look at it. And definitely is getting to be a nice bushy plant with the blooms on there and stuff like that. So I've never really been a big dahlia fan, but it is growing beautifully for me. Moonlight geraniums has more of a darker foliage. Selecta is saying that this is kind of their comparison to Syngenta's Rocky Mountain for that side of things. So they came out with a red a couple of years ago, and then now they have an orange. And the thing with this is that they're saying is that it doesn't have that hint of coral in there or the scarlet, and that is an actual true orange without those kind of reddish highlights in there. And it can be used for, bigger containers and stuff like that. It's not a small little novelty. Headliner, some interesting things going on this year. As Gail mentioned before, we knew it was a matter of time before new, more speckled and star petunias, sky petunias came out. And it's been a couple of years since we've had a sky one out of Selecta. They were the original with the night sky. And we've got two this year. We've got Crystal Skies and then Electric Purple Sky. And the Crystal Sky is a little bit lighter, as you can see. I really love that veining on it. I have all three of these actually in one of my containers. And I will say I do like the Electric Purple a little bit better. The coloring on it is just a little bit darker. You still get some great coloring out of the Crystal, but it is definitely more in that pastel. So just kind of keep that in mind for building combinations. And then Main Stage Glacier Sky is more of their vigorous, their biggest petunia that they do, with Headliner being the medium. And this is really fun too. And I've kind of seen with the temperatures is that the hotter it's getting, the more of that purple color is coming back for me. For a little while, I had some bigger kind of whiter blooms with a little bit of purple. And then now with the temps, the intensity of that purple is definitely coming back. So it does change a little bit. The other two have stayed pretty stable. I have not seen big blotches of white like you get with the night sky. Mini Famous Neo Double Plumtastic. So you might remember a couple of years ago, Selecta they used to have the standard, they used to have the trailing, they used to have the compact Calibrachoas, and they just kind of decided that it was getting confusing. And so they decided to do Unos and Neo. So Uno is more of their smaller, compact type flowering Calibrachoa, whereas the Neos are more of their vigorous. Those are the ones that you want for hanging baskets, bigger containers, things like that. And they had the Pinktastic come out last year, and now we've got the Plumtastic. So it's got that really nice double flower on it, and you still get that kind of cool veining with the darker and then the lighter too as well. So Phlox Giselle, I know that phlox can be kind of a little sticker for some people to grow. Not many people do like it. I will say I got a sample, I think the light pink, and it was really wet when it came in, or really yellow on the bottom. I just kind of nursed it along until I could plant it. I planted it, watered it in, let it be, and I will say it has taken off. Like, I've been amazed when I planted it. I was like, well, let's hope you survive. And it has, and really is loving this heat that we're having. Nice mounded habit. The flowers are really sticking out really nicely, and they've also got a red to add to it as well. So doing like a red, white, and blue pot or something like that would be a great option for this series. All right, Suntory, Brachyantha, the Greenvillea Gold. This one's really fun. They did send us some samples of Suntory stuff, but they didn't send us this one, me at least. I wish they would have. But this one is like a big straw flower. So we're talking like 2 to 3 times the size of what you would normally have. And we know what customers, even us, do when we see this plant. We start touching it just because we like the feel of it. It's really cool. It's kind of like straw as well. So definitely more of an interest plant. It would be great in the landscape or like a bigger container, like a 5 or a 6 inch or something like that. And it is mildew resistant too as well. So especially that's important when we're getting into these more humid days and months of the summers here too as well, that will help with that. Surfinia Heartbeat, this one came out about 3-4 years ago, maybe two within that. And I know there was always issues with the pattern not being exactly stable. And so what they did, we actually were able to see this last year at trials. They had kind of a pre look at, they said they were, planning on introducing it this year. So we actually did get to see a comparison of the old versus the new, and the pattern is more stable. You still have that early flower. So a lot of people like to order these in for Mother's Day, things like that. So that's still an option for that. So that's improved. And then of course now we've got the Purple Heart, which I think is really cute and just gives that nice little kind of look. It's not super dark, but it's not a super light pink color. I think it's just the nice little medium fuchsia there and is nice and vigorous. I think the Purple Heart would be beautiful to mix in with some other pinks or purples or yellows or things like that, just to kind of do some different combinations. Purple Star, when I look at this, I just see like just those immediate star pattern in the white, and it looks like starfish to me because it is so bright and bold, and just a fun little one to mix around. As you can see, it's more of a mounded habit. Doesn't look too terribly compact, but I don't know how many plants that they have in there, but definitely fun little one to mix in. Scaevola sordivia, purple. So this is an award-winning series, more mounded, semi-trailing, and this one's going to be 2 weeks earlier to flower than the other ones. This is what I received a lot of samples of in my box that I got from Suntory, a couple different sizes of these. And I will say, I know that Catharanthus, which is a, call it, form of a vinca and things like that, can be a little hard to grow because it does like the hotter weather. And I will say with these hotter temps, like I said before, these things have been going crazy. Love it. The Blueberry Kiss is very beautiful. They don't get very tall, but they do, spread out. And I've even seen a jump in the flower size on mine, especially with the red shades, how much bigger the flowers are with the heat versus, right when I got them or before they were just a little bit tinier. But definitely really fun, but they love the heat, love it to be warmer. They don't like the cooler temps, early shipping, all that kind of stuff. Syngenta, the Grace series. So here we've got some really beautiful garden performance. We've got the orange, we've got the pink, we've got the dark red, very much a trailing habit. And just look at that container. I think it's just a beautiful show. Lots of flowers. We've got some single, some double flowers in there with just kind of the right amount of foliage for the garden. And then we've got the Floricio, close enough, for this one. And this is more of a smaller type pot crop, I would say. Just kind of more of a decorative type look to it. As you can see, all the flowers are on the top, foliage is on the bottom. You still get some decent height out of it with that 16 to 18 inches, but it's just a kind of a different, obviously different look than having the Grace series, where that would be more for containers and maybe some hanging baskets, things like that, where this you can maybe do a smaller hanging basket or just some really nice 5-inch, 6-inch containers to really just showcase those beautiful flowers on the top. Geranium Calderias, this one here is really fun. I love that we've got some different new geraniums. I know people like to do different mixed hanging baskets for geraniums. And these ones here are more heat tolerant like Caliente, but they're a little bit more spreading. And I call the flower types on these, and it's not super scientific, but more of like a fairy type look to it. Kind of looks like fairy wings. You don't get that super big and fluffy flower like you do with the Calliopes. But you kind of get more of just that daintier flower in there, and not too tall, but the big thing with these is that they spread more than the Calientes do. So, all right, well, everyone will be happy to know we only have one more new Calliope for this year. Usually it's always like we have 2 to 3 to show you. If you remember a couple of years ago, they split the Calliopes from largest to mediums. And so just one new medium for this year, which is the cherry, a little bit more controlled foliage, but you still get those nice flowers on there. Ivy League Cherry Blossom, a couple years ago, Syngenta went through and they consolidated the Contessas, the Freestyles, I think some of the Cascades, things like that, and they picked the best of the best, and that's why they call them the Ivy League. And so that's why we've got Ivy League, Cherry Blossom, fun little bicolor. Mine are growing beautifully. The coloring on it is nice. They're really nice ruffled flowers, multiple petals in there. Just a fun color to be able to do a standalone container or basket, or even mix in with some of the other ones too as well. Mojo, similar to the Moxies, we've got just some more kind of adapted, more color choices in the series. We've had the reds and the whites and the pinks before. Now we're getting into the splashes here. We've got the orange, the more of a mounded, the darker foliage on that one. And then we've got a couple new Moxies too. We've improved the white, not we, but Syngenta improved the white, a violet, and then an orange. And this is a smaller, I like to call this like a mini calliope, because it is interspecific, but it's, you know, good for like a nice 6-inch pot where it's, you know, you plant it and it's just going to be nice and flower all summer long on your patio table for that. Love this one. Very excited to have this one. It's been a while and it's really hard to find a rosebud type geranium. The coloring on this is beautiful. Mine is blooming gorgeously. Doesn't get too terribly tall, but the blooms on these are really beautiful. And I suspect this one to be very popular this year, just because you don't really have much for options for this on the market. So definitely add this one to your list. Itsy Magenta. This one is very interesting. It's more of a trailing, and when they say it has tons of the tiny blooms, it really does have tons of the tiny blooms. A little wiry, mine is as well, but definitely covers a nice area. The habit is a little bit more controlled, but definitely dark flowers, and then that really, really dark center on it make it kind of interesting. So Deco Banana, I think that calling this one banana is just perfect because it reminds me a little bit of like Bananas Foster's with that center being more of that brown color, kind of with the caramel and bananas and things like that. So mine that I have is just nicely spreading flowers on top, not a lot of foliage. I have mine in a kind of more of a landscape type area, and it's just doing wonderfully. The flower color is not a super bright yellow, but it's more of a golden toned down yellow, if that makes sense. So Scavola Bombay, now we've got a compact dark blue. So we kind of talked about before, sometimes that regular blue gets a little bit too long. Now they've kind of trimmed it back in a sense a little bit more so that you can have some more blooms on there and it doesn't get kind of too leggy and out of control. But when doing hanging baskets, you know, it does take some distance to get out to the edge to make sure that you get those flowers that are being seen. So it does work, but just kind of, you know, right plant, right place type deal. And then there's also a new yellow too as well with those soft yellow blooms in the more of the darker center. Tradewind Sunset, this is kind of what I would call the answer to Selecta coming out with their Zion Purple Sun last year, which I think was similar to their Copper Amethyst. And I know that a lot of you tried that one. I wasn't able to get my hands on any of that this year to try for the Purple Sun, but I do have this one, and I will say the colors on it are beautiful. The blooms are great, very on top of the foliage, very sun facing, and bright and just nice little color. And then when they kind of start to fade, they kind of go to more of like a rust yellow color, which is just, I think, still desirable too as well. So Lanai Verbena, I just feel like we just can never have enough. And you know, rightfully so, it has earned many awards, including the Garden Merit of Royal Hort Society Award. So we've got 2 new uprights. We've got the Merlot with eye, we've got the peach, and we've got a trailing purple. So, I mean, what's 3 more when you've got, I don't know, what, 25 maybe? I don't know. Terra Nova Industries came out with some fun things this year. So one of their cool things that they always usually have is some really nice begonias and more of the decorative foliage, and then of course having the flowers, even though the flowers are not as significant, but they still add really good value to the begonia. So here's their New Year's Eve one. And they have a couple new coleus, and the big thing with their coleus is that some people don't realize is that they're not very tall. Like this one's only 14 inches and then 20 inches wide, whereas the Madame Medusa is 9 inches tall and 18 inches wide. So I see a lot of people ordering these all the time, which is great, but they don't realize how small they are. And again, like obviously with this one, it's only 9 inches tall. You don't want to put any PGRs on it because it's just gonna make it probably more of a fairy garden plant. So definitely some cool little things. Like I said, we're seeing a lot of just different types of foliage on the coleuses, and not just that regular big broad leaf anymore. Westhoff, they have the mahogany begonias. We've got the cherry, and then we've got the orange. really great contrast. As you can see, those are some dark foliage underneath there, but you still have that really nice upright habit, similar flower type to the Rise Ups that they have. And this is going to be more of a small pot production, like a smaller hanging basket, things like that. Firewalker Calibrachoa, they had Skywalker last year, which is a purple with more of a white mottled color to it. And then we've got the Firewalker, which is, the name says, is a fire type, you know, yellow and the orange and the red and stuff on there. So really, really fun one to mix similar kind of coloring to the chameleons and things like that. Calitastics is more of their smaller, more compact series of Calibrachoas. We've got the Amberghini Star and the Blood Orange. And this is, being that it is more compact, it is also one of the earlier flowering ones that they do have, but it still has more of a medium type bigger, but isn't going to get super big. It's not going to be a big trailer for you. It's more of a mounded. And speaking of the chameleons from earlier, we've got Blackberry Pie, which is a little bit darker than Blueberry Scone, Milky Pink, and then Frozen Ice, which we all, you know, Frozen, the movie. It's going to be a popular one there, so good naming on their end of things. And these do change with the heat, the humidity, the fertilizer, all that kind of stuff. So you do get really this big bang for your buck. Excuse me, being that you get these multiple kind of hues of colors in the one plant, which I think is great. Kufia, Gail talked about a couple Newman introductions earlier, and we've got one here from Westhoff, and I just love the coloring on this. Myself, I'm not a big Vermillionaire Kufia fan, just because the coloring I think is kind of hard to mix sometimes, but I am excited for this one. It only gets to be 12 to 18 inches tall, and so I think that's kind of a good size for maybe put in the hanging basket. I would love to see, you know, the amount of pollinators and hummingbirds that would come up to a hanging basket like that, but just a fun little one, and I've seen a couple people for vendors pick it up, so it'll be out there for you guys to try. Nemesia Essential Banana Split adds to the series that we've had this past year. We had like Blackberry, Bumbleberry, a couple of those other ones with the different colored flowers on it that came out, and now we've got just this yellow with the orange center on it, and very fragrant. And like Gail said before, I really think that Nemesias are becoming more of a popular item, just because the breeding and the heat tolerance has gotten better on them. Like she said, it's not just an early spring flower anymore, so it has a little bit more diversity. Crazy Tunias, we all love the Crazy Tunias. I have so much a mix of people who love them or you hate them. That's just kind of the way it is. Crazy Tunia, Amarina Cream, Cosmic Pink, and Peach Bellini. I love the peach and the cream one. I think are really gorgeous. The thing I tell people is if you can get past the habit, that's kind of, you know, it's a lot, but the flower color is really cool, and that's what a lot of consumers love. Not necessarily they don't pay attention to the habit of it, they just think that's what it is, but they are crazy. That's just kind of the best way to describe it, and some people like them and some people don't, and that's okay. We got a new Regal. This is very exciting. It's been a while since we've had a new Aristo. Acryel, lavender flowers, upright habit, everything else that you would expect from a Regal geranium. And Verbena Australia Imperial Blue, mildew tolerant, more of an upright habit, and this is really that bright blue color with those white eyes. I think just really stands out and makes it just a little beautiful one to try. So that is it for me, and I will hand it off to Megan to continue on with the seed varieties.
All right, so moving on to seed, moving into Benari here, we have the Big Begonia white green leaf. I'm sure there will be a bronze leaf coming out in this soon. This is great for sun or shade, great for your mass plantings in the ground with almost no maintenance required. Just gets to be a very big and matches the rose and the red in the series. And then moving on to Begonia Funky Red, we've got that nice trailing habit. Now we got more colors in the series, a double red flower, and I would say more for the shade on this one. A new series of Boliviensis type from Benari called Groovy. This is mellow yellow pictured here. There is also 5 colors in the series. We've got white, red, rose, and orange. More of a hanging basket type for the sun or shade. Got some new nonstop colors this year. We got Fire and Sunset, which are great colors to the addition with the green leaves. And then we've got Mocha Deep Red with the darker leafed foliage. Some new foliage for this year. We've got the Celosia Souls. Great, thick, just a nice foliage plant. Everyone is also always looking for new foliage plants. We got Gecko Green and Lizard Leaf. Mine and my pots have gone crazy. It's just a new, interesting piece to look at in a container. I would say full sun for this to part sun, and mine are about 10 to 12 inches tall. So a great new foliage interest. Here is a new grass called Frosted Explosion, commonly known as witch grass. I would assume that this is going to seed itself like all of the other ones. A great upright habit and nice to put into a vase. Moving on to marigolds here. So this is the African Marigold Marvel 2s. These will replace the Marvel series. 3 great new colors to the series. We'll have a mix, gold, orange, and yellow. 16 to 18 inches tall and about a foot wide. A new addition to the Easy Wave called Rose Fusion. This will be the earliest to flower in the series of the waves. These are more of your mounding and spreading type, and just a new color to the series called Rose Fusion. A new petunia, Shockwave Purple Tie-Dye with all of the different color variations of white and purple. Mine with all the heat to more purple. I would assume the colors will change here as the season goes along, but very early to flower and full sun on this one. A couple years ago, we had a new Vinca series called Tattoo. Very bold colors in this series. A new one this year called Blueberry. And then a new mix called American Pie Mix. Great for hot, sunny, and dry locations. A new seed pinto geranium called Premium Deep Rose, kind of that deeper rose color that you get just a new color in the lineup. A new French marigold called Illumia, a great ruffled edge, big flowered marigold with the brushed on red petals, about 10 to 12 inches tall with that large flower head. So this year, we have the photo finish petunias. These will be replacing the Ramblin series. So if you had previously used the Ramblins, they will now be considered photo finish. You got that nice uniform spreading habit on there. Very early flowering and excellent branching on those. So here we have Petunia Flash Forward. This is got a bunch of miniature blooms. I would say very similar to the mini vistas that are out there with all of the, the little blooms. Definitely more of a carpet type, gone crazy, loaded with blooms. Now on to combinations. These are the Proven Winners 2021 National Recipes of the Year. We got Rockin' Out, Eclipse of the Sun with that Coleus, Ipomea, and a great new double Rockapulco in there, and also Beachside Drive with the great Honey Petunia and the pinks. Couple new Trixie combos. The big thing to note here is Chemical Attraction and Sky's the Limit have the Sky series of petunias in them. The Chemical Attraction has the Electric Purple Sky, in it, and the Sky's the Limit has the night sky in it. So just something a little bit new in the Trixie combos this year. And then moving on here, we have a couple double Calibrachoa Trixies. We have either a triple flowered or triple colored or a double colored. So just a kind of a nice new combos there for the doubles. Moving on to perennials. Here are two new echinaceas in the Artesian series. We've got red ombre and a soft orange. Hardy to zone 4, and very, very stable colors on these. I would say about 16 to 24 inches tall and full to part sun on those. Here's a new heuchera called Dulce Toffee Tart from Proven Winners. Got that very nice caramel ginger color on there and white flower spike on there. Probably kind of inconspicuous, but only about 8 inches tall there, more for the shade. So here is some new echinaceas called Sunny Days Lemon and Sunny Days Ruby. You got that nice double flower, and as you can see pictured there, they are just loaded with blooms. So I think that's the big thing to note there, and also about 18 inches tall and hardy to zone 4. Here is a bottle rocket or Nephophia called Poco Citron with that nice buttery yellow cream flowers. Hardy to zone 4, kind of nice to add to a container or something to that nature. Here is a new anemone called Satin Dull Blush, more of a naturally compact habit. Earlier bloom time with those yellow or with those pink blooms and extending a little bit longer, and those are also hardy to zone 4. Moving on to some fruit and vegetables here. Last year, Pan American came out with their new series called Kitchen Minis. So this is a new patio type tomato called Siam, only about 9 inches tall and 12 inches wide, and the fruits on here are only about a ½ an inch. So very small, more for your patio. This year we have a Strawberry Berry Treasure from Proven Winners. We had the red come out a couple years ago. We also had the pink come out and pulled back off the market. So now we have the pink back and also a white, and these are going to be the ever-bearing type. So here's the last one for shrubs. We've got Lilac Baby Kim in the Boomerang series. A nice companion to that. Only going to be about 3 feet by 3 feet, and you've got those nice light pink flowers to the dark rich purple. So full to part sun on that. And with that, I think that's it. And I hope you enjoyed listening to all the new varieties that are coming out for this year. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out and let us know. Thanks for listening.